Yo,
I specifically wore this hat for you. I just want you to know that.
I like it, dude. Seriously.
You always have the coolest hats, and we talked about it in the past, but today I felt like it was appropriate. This is not me being lazy when I
Yeah,
do my. This is me. This is for you. This is about you. So
dude.
I want you to know
What an honor. It is.
that.
It's a privilege just to be nominated. But seriously, I do like the hat. It looks like it has a little sheen to it. Like,
It's like a leather thing. You
yeah,
know,
that's
I
that's a very
yeah.
Cody Allen hat, though. You're right. That's totally. If
How
I
are you,
can
man?
refer to myself in the third person, which may be the most
Hmm.
irritating thing I do during this interview.
No, I think you're allowed. I think you've earned that over the years. Honestly, definitely earned that.
Um, Seriously, how is your hair? How is it doing in quarantine? Are you growing it out? Is it short still? Give us the lowdown on that, because I feel like a
It's
lot. Listen, I wear hats because it covers up my weaknesses, and so that's why I'm
But
always
is it a
interested.
weakness though? Is it a kind of a strength in all honesty? It's kind of a
I've
strength,
made
I
it.
think.
I've made it a strength, but trust me, most of my life I felt like it was a serious weakness. In all seriousness, I thought it would keep me from doing things. Like, obviously on radio it doesn't matter because people can't see you, but uh, I never really thought I could be on TV because I had a bald head. And then, like, Kenny Chesney proved that you could be a star and be bald. Tim McGraw to some degree. And
Hmm.
then
Hmm.
you had this whole crop of like ball cap country music singers, Luke Bryan and others started wearing caps. And so it occurred to me a few years ago that maybe I could do this. Maybe I could be on TV for a living too. So anyway, I just got lucky, really, Hunter, is what it is.
I think it's brilliant, and I actually had never heard that before. That's so interesting. I feel like we could have an hour-long conversation about that, and at
I
some
think we
point we
all
should.
have, don't we
But
all have something though that like bugs us most of our life until we get wisdom about it, or get comfortable enough with ourselves about whatever it is to then let it go and let it be and embrace it almost. I mean, we all have something, right? What's yours?
absolutely, absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, I've got quite a few. I mean, for me, God, that's a long list. Um, I mean, but I relate. I totally relate in a way that I don't necessarily know how to communicate yet because I'm still learning how
Yeah.
to talk about this sort of process. Um, but I don't I can relate, and also never like I always feel bad about saying I can relate because you really honestly never truly
Right.
can relate to someone's unique experience, and especially that anyway. I find that a really inspiring story because it is interesting how we see our weaknesses as weaknesses until the moment we see it as a strength, and then everything changes.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
I love what Robin Roberts of Good Morning America said. She says, "Make your mess your message." Like, whatever it
Mm,
is that like bugs you about yourself, and we all have something. And sometimes
yeah.
it's circumstances. It's not necessarily something personal or visual or superficial like I'm talking about, but it can sometimes be like growing up poor, or like somehow not having a childhood that was perfect, or being abused. All these things kind of like uh, could be the thing that makes you a mess, you think, and then
Mm.
it actually becomes your strength when you overcome it. So anyway, we're getting really deep, and I didn't mean to, because really the point of this conversation is the one that got away. And I love the song.
Thank you.
Uh,
I
I think
appreciate
it's
that,
so
man.
fun. I like this upbeat. It's a great sort of 3 minute comeback song. Tell me though, the guy in the song, he sounds like he's super happy to be away from her, because you think the one that got away is going to be like a negative, but he sounds like, again, he's turned something that was a negative at first into a positive. Am I right? Does it kind of all fit together?
It's interesting because like over the last like 5, 6, 7 years, I've had people in my ear. Anytime I write something like this, that's a bit more sort of empowering. There's a caution flag that goes up because there's an assumption that it is about a specific relationship, and I think what gave me freedom on this song and in this process was that it's not about one specific relationship. It's more I wanted people to sort of hear it and for it to connect with just chapters of their life, right? Like
Yeah.
I've talked to people about like career changes and like big life changes and like moving from a city to another, or like those kinds of things through this song. And I do have to be honest, I didn't expect that. Like I was excited about that, I was optimistic about that, but I didn't think that this would bring out so many messages and so many people would actually share really personal, very awesome stories of getting through something and finding freedom. And I wasn't prepared for that. I really honestly just wanted people to feel free and have a dance party and feel like the one that got away. And it's so awesome to look like. I love going on YouTube, which I normally don't love going on YouTube comments, but I love going on YouTube comments on this song because there's so many people who have said I'm the one that got away. And I love seeing that. I love seeing that people realize it's kind of, I didn't mean for it to be about self-worth, but it kind of is. And that's the conversation that it started. And I think that's what I love about it. It's not, so many people have taken it and they know that, I mean, this album is the first time I've wrapped up so many topics in such a way where really, if you look at the lyrics, they're not necessarily about relationships, but if the lyrics pass you by, yeah, it kind of sounds like relationships. And honestly, I'm down. I'm cool. I love that. I love that people will connect with it on sort of whatever level they will. But yeah, it's meant to be about freedom and finding your self-worth,
Red Sky is the name of the album. And by the way, is the whole project done now? Is it ready to be released?
Close. It's close to done, and so is part 3, the next part. I'm actually looking at a whiteboard with about 20 songs for it as well. So we've been busy, which is good.
Yeah. Tell me about that busyness, because I heard you were kind of quarantined in Los Angeles. You found like a little sanctuary there to sort of write the songs and put the music together yourself. I mean, you're one of the few musicians who, like, from A to Z, in a project, does it all himself. I mean, every little detail. So tell me about the process and going to California.
Yeah. Well, I mean, welcome to our little corner of heaven over here. This is
Oh wow.
This is my corner office, but I kind of stumbled.
I need that office. And you've got amazing lighting, by the way, too. I mean, that's all natural.
It's pretty fantastic. Yeah. I stumbled onto this place. I didn't, I guess, it was funny because when I talked to somebody that I'm very close to, I found this awesome little like collection of small places where we could like build multiple studios and like kind of live / like work out here. And I mean, we all went crazy last year, right? We all wanted out. And, I'd always wanted to do the road trip to Los Angeles. Sounded so glorious and cinematic. And so we did it. We loaded up a couple cars. I loaded up a bunch of gear and I said, I'm going to find an Airbnb where I can like work and record and be like in the city, but not in the city. And we found that. And then I just kind of stumbled on this place in searching for like, a bit of a longer stay to work in. And this is just kind of where I'm putting the album together. I did a lot of writing at home in Nashville. I did a lot of writing on Zoom and things like that. And I've done a little bit of writing here, but this was kind of just a place where I felt like I needed to sort of escape from everything. And this is like, we're like in the middle of, it feels like we're in the middle of nowhere. We're outside of town. We're like maybe 30, 45-minute drive from like the business stuff. But I feel like I'm in the middle of nowhere. I just look at these hills and these mountains and this is what I needed to sort of like undo the things in my brain that were keeping that, well, just like to kind of bust through some walls and get through some barriers and stuff. It was all internal, but I needed to sort of sit and look at it, feel like I was in the middle of nowhere and assemble the album with the songs that have been written and the stuff. And also it's been great because like I've worked with new collaborators out here, a lot of new producers and writers and it's been a blast just sort of like opening up the doors and and just doing a bunch of new things.
Yeah. Any run-ins with wild animals?
Out
there in the mountain? Okay.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I actually yesterday. Well, first of all, everything. It's a zoo out here. So like a couple weeks ago, we heard what sounded like a very large cat meowing. I've been told, and we've theorized that it's actually the peacocks. But because it sounds like it's very loud, but it's very far away, and that's the most disturbing version of a cat meowing you can imagine. We just had a run-in with the pack of coyotes.
I didn't know peacocks made noise, by the way. Like peacocks,
I didn't either.
Sounds.
and I'm super okay with the fact that people are probably gonna roast me in the comments. So I'm like, that's not a peacock. Peacock's something. Anyway, I'm down to learn. I'm down to educate myself. But there's also like a pack of coyotes that came and visited us the other day, and the dogs just kind of run around. They've got a lot of freedom out here, and I saw this one dog at the bottom of the hill. I was like, that's not Cole, like, right? That's not my greyhound, and that's not Ella, my little beagle. That's something else. And the closer I got, the more I realized that's a very large coyote. I was surprised at how big it was. And then I heard the rest of them about, a couple hours later, and they were right at the bottom of the hill. So, we're getting to know the neighbors. We're getting to make friends with the situation around us, and we're making the best of it.